What's up, ladies and gentlemen of YouTube? Alex here with Cyber Echo 1987, and today I am bringing you a video all about loot boxes. That conversation, yep, it's still going on. EA, yep, we all still talk about it. So I'm going to go ahead and bring you a video not only talking about both sides of the argument, but I also want to go ahead and bring up my own personal feelings on the matter. Which they are too long and too complex to make a video on it, but I can definitely give some highlights on my feelings. I'm definitely interested on your guys' opinions, what you think, and basically having that deep intellectual conversation about it. So, yeah, I mean, I definitely can see both sides of the arguments, and then I'll give you both sides of the arguments on the whole gambling aspect of it, and then afterwards feel free to comment below, tell me what you think, and yeah, so let's go ahead and jump on into it. So, I want to first give you the argument that it is gambling. And that is, a lot of people are saying that it's got the behaviors of gambling. You know, a lot of people cannot help themselves by just playing the game because there's a chance of risk, and it's so exciting, and it thralls them into wanting to go ahead and use some of their hard-earned cash to go ahead and spend money and get some of these loot boxes when they could be getting absolutely worthless nothing, zero, zilch, nothing that helps them in-game, and then they're forced either taking that loss or buying yet another loot box. And that's part of EA's strategy. Like, don't get me wrong, that for a business marketing campaign is making them tons and tons of money, and it has before. Star Wars Battlefront 2 just sort of rubbed people the wrong way. They were all looking forward to the game, and they got just a little too greedy, but oddly enough, if you look into the past of EA, they had a game of Need for Speed come out where you buying parts for your vehicle, as I understand it, was in the form of loot boxes. And so if you needed a specific item to go ahead and put onto your vehicle, you may not get it. And so it forced you to buy new loot boxes. So this practice that EA has been doing is nothing new to anybody. It came out with a big title like Star Wars, and it caught the attention of everybody. So, you know, to say that this is new news, it's not really. It's just now it's caught in some wind because Disney products are big and Disney wants to keep their name. And when a CEO calls another CEO or any officer or important person from one company to the other, and it leaks, oh yeah, that's going to make news. So, the big bullet point there is it has gambling types of behaviors. Which are in, this goes into the next big bullet point, and that's it's being exposed to children and young adults, and they don't have the mental capacity to understand exactly what it is that they're doing. They don't have that concept of money and how valuable it truly is, so they're just gambling away things at a young age that truly don't even belong to them, unless if they're doing some sort of allowances or, you know, Christmas, you know, their own gifts that were given to them. They didn't really truly have to work for it usually, and so they're being exposed to these behaviors of gambling with absolutely no consequences. The other thing too that kind of ties into is kids are stealing their parents' credit cards information, using it for online, and buying these loot boxes, and that is causing some issue in the community. I'll kind of circle back to that one when we go into my personal opinions on it, but that to me seems more like a behavior that the parents need to address with the children more so than that needs to be a public thing, because, well, at that point the child is stealing from you, and it doesn't really matter that it's for a loot box. The problem is that they're stealing, not necessarily what they're doing with it. And then people get addicted because of those behaviors. And yeah, I can also see that side. I know that myself, I don't really buy any Star Wars loot crates because I played the game for a while, and though I enjoyed it because the skin on it was Star Wars, truly at the end of the day, it didn't really have too many special features for me. I've got a game review on Star Wars Battlefront 2 that I'm going to go ahead and review later on, and give my opinions on it and what I think is great and what I think is not so great. But overall, it was a really good game to me. It was a lot of fun. I did like the campaign, broken or otherwise, but it wasn't anything to write home about. I actually was looking forward to Destiny 2 more than I was Star Wars Battlefront 2, but we all know how that turned out, and that was a little disappointing, but that's neither here nor there. So as a consequence, though, for what's been going on with EA, and EA kind of started this whole thing with their greed, and then it just kind of exploded on them. As I'm sure you've heard before, that other countries have already said that these are forms of gambling online, and a lot of places are looking to go ahead and get these banned, or at least some restrictions. I know in the U.S., the senator of Hawaii, I believe it was the senator, I could be mistaken about that, was talking about wanting to get that banned, which when I was looking at the interview and his conversations, he made the quote from General Akbar that it's a trap, which implied to me that he was a really big fan of the Star Wars franchise, because the way how he said that definitely implied that he knew what he was saying, and that's all good and fine, but then I start to wonder, where's his motivation coming in for this? Why would he make that funny comment of it's a trap? And it would appear to me that he was upset by what the game was doing. And that kind of brings me to the point of where people are saying, well, it's not necessarily gambling. It's greed for sure, but some people say that it's not gambling. And their main reason that I keep hearing, and the point that keeps coming back to, is just because there's a feature of gambling within the game, doesn't necessarily make it gambling. And I can see that point, and I lean more towards that point myself. Yes, there is a component to gambling within it. I do not deny that anytime you're putting real dollars into something in a game or a system or a slot machine, whatever the case may be, the chance that you are getting is a random chance of coming out ahead. That in itself is a definition of gambling. You are putting something into it and you don't know what you're receiving. Now, that to me it's not the same as going to a blackjack table and putting money down, playing blackjack, or even putting money in the slot machine. Yeah, I can see how it's like that, but it's not the same. And I guess where I would point out where it differs, or I guess you'd have to tell me where you draw the line. If your problem is that you're putting money into something and there's a chance that you're going to get what you want, and then there's also a chance you get total garbage or you bust, I mean, are we going to be banning Magic cards or Pokemon cards or any other trading game cards? Because you're buying a pack of cards not knowing what you're getting. So, do you need to be 21 to buy Pokemon cards? You know, I get that Pokemon has passed its day, but when I was in 4th grade, to illustrate the point, in 4th grade, I was playing Pokemon cards. I would mow grass, I would, wash cars, do whatever I needed to do in order to get a Pokemon card. And I did enjoy the thrill of opening the packs to see what I got. And in some ways, it was actually more enjoyable, the thrill of not knowing what I got and opening those packs, than it was to actually even see what I had gotten. And so, yes, that goes back to the gambling-like behaviors. But again, it's still not the same. But even if we do call that gambling too, where do we draw the line? Witcher 3, you have a gambling game within the game itself. So do you need to be 21 in order to play Witcher 3? I don't think you should be, that you should have to. But if you're going to say that Pokemon cards and Magic the Gathering cards and Yu-Gi-Oh! And all these other trading game card bases is also gambling, where do you draw the line? And if you draw the line and say that, well, Witcher 3 is digital, okay, so then why is Star Wars a problem? Is it the act of taking money and putting that money into something that's a risk? Then in that case, why do you not have to be 21 to play the stock market? You can open up an account at 18 and put your hard-earned money into the stock market. You can lose a lot of money in the stock market. Just ask a lot of people in 2008. I'm sure that they will tell you all about that. Ask the people who put stocks into Enron. Many people lost on that. That is a huge gambling component. So, yeah, I on the side of where we draw the line, I'm not seeing it, because we don't want to draw the line at digital because, well, games like Witcher 3, you're not really losing anything because it's just built into the game. But the action of gambling, that is still what is in Witcher 3. Okay? Pokemon cards, kids play that kind of stuff all the time. We've been playing stuff like that since the beginning of gaming. And chance has always been part of the high of playing video games. So I just can't, again, see where we would draw the line. And then I gotta say, quite honestly, even if we all agreed that it was gambling, why should people that are over the age of 21, why should everybody have to suffer just because of a select few group? Now, I understand that EA can go in and set a date of birth and, make you put in some information just to weed out the people, but that's not going to do anything.